Hello, hello. Hey, everybody. I was just thinking not a quick thought. I've been thinking about this for some time, but excuse me. You're smoking on a stogie. Contemplating life, right? Contemplating life. I'm sewing. I have this leather hide, this elk hide, and I've been making some bags out of it for friends. Some bags and like some cigar pouches, tobacco pouches, and stuff like that for some friends. So just kind of tooling on that a little bit, working on it a little bit, but I was thinking about it, and of course, me being me, I suppose, thinking through things and overthinking things probably as much as I do to a fault. I think, but it seems like divorce is the new family tradition. Divorce is the new family tradition, and so there's people on the internet explain it much better than I can, but um, I think men tend to want to build on legacy. Men want to try to pass on their family name, their genes, and leave something after themselves monetarily. Hopefully, maybe some property or some inheritance. I think on the balance of probabilities, most men are just trying to feed their families, have a good name for themselves as best they can, and leave a good name and a legacy as best they can for their children. The people that will come after them. And to some degree, I got to see this in real time. Partly raised by my folks were divorced, but partly raised by my grandparents. For a while there, my father had to go back home and live with his folks, and by proxy, I went and lived there as well for a while, which I'm very blessed to have had the experience. To live around my grandparents, they were absolute saints. And oddly enough, my grandmother, everybody loved my grandmother. She was the real rock and pillar of the family, and everybody loved, well, of course, my grandfather as well, but they loved my grandparents' house. It's a sacred place, it's like a temple, uh, almost. And many nights and much time spent there with family and with cousins and people from the neighborhood, and it was just a very welcome um, home, and everybody was always invited, and the food could always be put on, and tortillas can always be made, and salsa could always be made, and things like this. And there was always food at the table, and people were always welcome to come. And for people that didn't get that, I barely got to get some of that because of my grandparents. But it's like so many people. It's such a shame. It's so sad they didn't get to experience any of that family values at all. And I'm very, very thankful for what I did get. Um, but when my grandmother died, um, she had wanted to pass away, and she didn't want to live much past 70. And I remember her talking about that, because like your body starts breaking down, you can't taste food anymore. What if your mental faculties go? Things like this. And she made it past 70. I think it was in her mid 70s, and it was sad. And I flew home and was one of the pallbearers. All the cousins, all the men, the male cousins, we were all pallbearers, um, to bury my grandmother, and it was sad, but also she was very loving and ready to go home to be with the Lord. Um, some years later, when my grandfather passed away, I think it was interesting because I felt like everybody was probably closer to my grandmother, but when my grandfather passed away, it destroyed me. Like I was even worse than when my grandmother died. It was very, very difficult. But I remember at the funeral, just absolutely losing it. And I think it hit me that the patriarch of our family is dead. The king of the family, as it were, is dead. The one enthroned, may his memory be eternal, um, had passed away, and a new era has come. And he had a hard life, and there's lots of hard stories about him, and my dad tells those stories, and we're from good stock, hardworking stock, and people with a good name. And my grandfather had a legacy in his children, which lived on through us grandchildren, right? And I'm very saddened that my child will never get to meet his grandparents. They were such lovely people. But it goes without saying that there was a legacy and a steady through line, right? My grandparents stayed together. They didn't have to, and half the time I don't think they even liked each other. But they stayed together for the right reasons, and they raised family and kids and grandkids and great grandkids. And could you have anything better? Could there be anything better? No, I don't think so. And so I think for a lot of men, that's the best that they could do. That's the best that they could do is have a small family, do your best to raise them right, work hard on their behalf, and maybe get to see your grandkids, for a little while before you die. At my job, I was talking to some people that are older. I'm in my mid 40s. These people were probably maybe 60, 65, something like that. And they were talking about how they were mourning the fact that they'll never have grandkids. They're mourning the fact that they'll never have grandkids because their children aren't going to have children. They don't want to have kids. And so they were bemoaning the fact together that they're not going to be grandparents. And these are people that worked hard. They're still working, actually. And they worked hard their whole lives. And, they raised their kids. Their kids are adults. Their kids are out of the house. And they are wanting that next stage in life of being grandkids as you're moving towards retirement. And, get to go and spoil your grandchildren. Things like this. Take them shopping. Take them out to have fun. Living vicariously through your grandchildren. And it's a real pain and an angst that many people are feeling because they're not going to have grandkids. I think, if you're on the internet, you don't have to be on the internet that long to see all these posts about people talking about, why can't I find a spouse? Why is the dating market so awful? Why don't people want to get married anymore? So on and so forth, right? And I mean, I'm kind of the guy the red pill warns you about. My story is kind of that story, right? You lose your spouse, you lose your children, you lose your home, you lose your property, you lose your income, damn near for the rest of your life. Because that other person doesn't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. Maybe it's deserved, maybe it's not. Nevertheless, the risks to divorce, not marriage, because marriage is wonderful, marriage is fantastic, but the risk to divorce is too high. It's too high. The cost that you might have to pay is too high. So the phrase, the quote goes, men are in love, women are in business. Men are in love, women are in business. Now, look, is that true across the board? No, of course not. But it seems a high probability. anyway. And so, men, you want to have children, you want to have legacy. The whole reason why you drag your sorry carcass out of bed usually in the morning is to go to work and work on behalf of other people, right? Your wife and your children, which is what you should be doing. It's a good thing. And it's a joy to do it. It's hard, but it's a joy to do it. So, I think one of the hardest things to come to terms with after I went through my divorce, and I'm not trying to shame anybody, my ex most of all, I love her and I hope she's doing well, is that you really thought you were going to have a legacy. You really thought you were going to have a legacy. And you thought it would outlive you, and you thought you would live for generations through your kids, through your grandkids, so on. Anymore, though, it seems at best you're going to be a stepfather, which isn't always a bad thing, but you're going to be expending your time and energy on somebody else's children more than your own. You're likely, because if you go through a divorce, you're probably not getting 50-50 custody. So you're going to be spending more time with another man's child or children than your own. And once that starts sinking in and settling in, it is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. And it's the same thing. I mean, your spouse, your ex-wife, will probably remarry. And another man, because he probably went through a divorce too, another man will be spending more time with your children than his own children because of divorce. And the cycle continues. And the cycle continues. All these guys out here having to be stepdads because they want to be in a family, but they can't be in their own family. They've got to raise somebody else's kids and be in somebody else's family. And another man, unfortunately, is going to do it with your child or children. And this is totally permissible. It's backed by the government, and you have to pay for it. And that will be your legacy. That will be your legacy. Your dad did the best he could with what he had after being put through the meat grinder that is the divorce court mafia. And everybody's okay with this. Love the one you're with. Stay with your spouse if you can. Build your legacy. Even stay in, if you have to, if you're just in this unbearable marriage. I never condone divorce. I never think it's, almost never do I think it's a good idea. But if you have to stay in it until your kids are gone, fine. In my opinion, fine. But this notion of being a studious father, this will happen. You know, thankfully, thank God this happens for some guys. Some guys, the family stays together. They work hard. They get to raise their kids. They get to see their kids and grandkids. They get to keep their spouse. You know, it's a wonderful thing for those people that it works for. It's really wonderful. But divorce is the new family tradition. Divorce is, unfortunately, God forbid, will be your family tradition. And your new family tradition is raising another man's children with a new woman. Because she divorced her baby's dad as well. And poor sucker, he got probably less than 50-50 custody. And, you know, in many states, you have to pay child support until your ex remarries. And then once your ex remarries, the new husband is responsible for her and paying those bills. Now, this is a reason why a lot of women don't remarry. In fact, I talked to a woman not that long ago who goes to my church. These ladies know what time it is. They're not dumb. I would say generally this lady's a good lady. But she said the quiet part out loud. I won't remarry until my kids are grown because my ex still has to pay me child support. And I'm not giving that up. So I won't get married. Is that the family tradition you want? It's not what I signed up for. That's for damn sure. But it seems like almost if you're going to have a relationship at all anymore, especially once you get a little bit older, like in your 40s, like I am, the person's going to have kids. The person's going to have kids, more than likely. And is that something that guys want to do anymore? It's not. It's not. And so it's really unfortunate. And I see why these guys are becoming passport bros and things like that, where they're going overseas to try to find a traditional woman. But I don't know if that's any better, to be honest. I don't know. I don't have any experience in that. So likely your family tradition, the thing that you're known for, the inheritance that you pass on, the wisdom that you pass on, the time, the affection, the energy that you pass on. It's probably not going to be with your own children. It's going to be with a different woman and her kids. If you choose to go that route. But I do have to say, man, like I dropped my kid off to his mom today, and I don't understand. I will never understand. And I say this all the time. I will never square with this. I don't know why people can't co-parent. And they can't be good to each other. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I will never settle that in my soul. And I think it's foolish to do so. The situation is the situation, man. When she leaves and those divorce decrees and the government comes in and tells you when you can parent and tells you how much money you have to pay to do so, it's your child tax. You have to pay a child tax to see your child. You can either run, skip state, something like that. A lot of men do that. But God forbid I would never do that to my child, as long as I can avoid it. Your kids need you. Stick around as long as you can. Anyway, I'm ranting. I'm done. The lineage or the line or the family name that you wanted to pass on with your great family traits and your passing on of a legacy. If your divorce is starting, you find out real quick that that's not an option, and it probably never was. We're just blind to think that maybe we can be one of the ones who squeezes through the gate at the last second is gonna make it. Like your marriage is gonna make it. Your love is gonna win, or win her back, or something like that. I know, because I thought the same way. But there comes a certain level of peace with acceptance. That you did everything you could to try to right the wrongs, save the marriage, fight for time with your children, and maybe that's your lineage. Maybe that's your lineage. That your kids see that you didn't quit, that you're a fighter, that you keep coming back, that you keep showing up, that you keep loving on them. Maybe that's your line. Maybe that's your lineage. But divorce is the new divorce is the new family tradition. There it is. God have mercy on us all.